Hey, beautiful people, welcome to part 4 of Spirit-Led Initiations. Joe begins to move more deeply across the threshold. And one of the things that has come to mind for me is one of the threads that moves through these rites of passages and these spirit-led initiations is the theme of isolation. If we take Brigid and the burning oak, Brigid is there wandering the land alone. It's that journey, it's almost like the hero's journey. And I think back over my own experience that went back 27 years ago when I was made redundant from the everyday world, and I decided that I felt this huge gravitational pull to head north up into the Scottish mountains, and up into the Cairngorms, where I walked from one side of the Cairngorms to another, and I spent 2.5 months there in the mountains in solitude, within isolation. Isolation is a common feature in so many rites of passages, and I think the reason is simple. It is a ritual of personal growth, of deep soul growth. The other thing I think it does is it activates all that we are and all that we have been. Enjoy. The land had called you, and I think that's the thing with those initiations. So we think about Brigid and the burning oak. Within the story, Brigid is out wandering the land. You know, there you are, Joe. You know, you and her in cahoots. She's out wandering the land off the beaten track, and she has this incredible experience that serves as an initiation and a rite of passage. And within the initiation, there is always a gift, always a gift. And there's this literal physical gift that you've been gifted. You know, so when you think about your skull and it being a deer, stag, what would you say? Is it a deer, stag?
I mean, it's not an enormous skull, but those antlers are quite sizable.
Okay, so, you know, like, what does it say to you? You know, that's a gift from the innate, a gift from spirit, a gift from the land. What is it saying? What do you take from it? What is it teaching? Its gift, its medicine?
For me, it was a rite of passage. It was basically saying you're moving into new territory now. And I've been on a journey, as we all have, through life and through lives. And I think it was almost like a turning point where I had to admit that I was more than I was admitting I was. I had to admit that there was something more that I needed to do, something more than I needed to be. And something that I needed to become. And I didn't have really a permanent altar at home. And for a while, the skull sat in my corner, but I felt it needed a space, and I've placed it now. I've had a clearer, huge, because it's enormous.
It's big skull.
And I've made a permanent altar now in my living room, and I didn't think that would go down well with the family, but they're fine with it. In fact, it's given the due respect. People don't mess about with it or move things. They leave things as they are. And they're quite happy for me to have this immersive dead animal skull taking centre space in the lounge, and yet it needs to be. You know, it's there, and
very majestic.
It is, and it has a lot of. It resonates a lot. It gives me messages. It gives me a sense of grounding.
Yeah. Well, in a way, it takes you
connection.
back to the experience, like that experience of being out on the land in amongst that rain, right, an uncharted territory, like these wild animal tracks. It's like you're amongst all of that every time you see it, every time you connect with it, every time you touch it. And actually it's releasing its story by being in your space. You think what it's seen, where it's been, the paths that it has trodden and run. In a way, all of that story is in the fabric of that skull. And of course, it's kind of emanating that, it's releasing that story.
And when I connect to it,
It's beautiful.
I connect not only to the deer that gave its skull, but the mother who gave the deer that skull, and the deers that went before, deer that went before. There's a connection. There's a soul connection there. I find myself putting my hand on its third eye and my hand on my third eye, and holding that connection. And there's a deep spiritual moment that happens there, where there's a joining. I mean, it is connection, but it's almost like a unity consciousness that we all talk about. But it's like we are all one. We are all one and part of this planet. We are all made of the same bits. We're just different, put together in different ways. And I think it's given me a connection that I never thought I'd have. I didn't even realise existed. But it also has given me more of another power animal, a connection to faces of the divine that I wasn't necessarily connected with before. It's giving me an awful lot.
It unravels and unpacks, because it's such a random event. That you were led, right to that moment in time, to that place, on that particular day and time, and there it was. It revealed itself. We always say, don't we? It's never by chance; it's by design, and those things are absolutely by design. It's like the innate is calling you into that initiation. That is led by the